All right, so this will be our video for Obama. It might just be one video for Obama. All right, so Obama becomes a surprise candidate for the Democrats in 2008. He was not suspected to beat Hillary Clinton, but he does. So he does become the candidate in 2008. He led a very masterful campaign, very gifted speaker, very charismatic. He's also the first African American to win a major party's nomination, and then later, of course, become the first African American president, but the first to win a major party nomination, as well as becoming the first black president. Republicans in 2008, John McCain, Sarah Palin, are hurt by the 2008 recession. People blame it on the Republicans. They blame the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan on Bush, and so John McCain can't escape the association with Bush and the wars and the financial crisis in 2008, and so Obama and Joe Biden win in 2008 as a result. Obama also won a lot of support of young voters through rising social media. He does do a good job of targeting some new demographics. He targets Latinos, he targets women, he targets minorities in general, but uses a lot of social media, Facebook, Twitter, those kind of things to target a lot of young people. He got a lot of young people out to vote, 18 and 30-year-olds, through things like social media, phones, and so on, and that was a big plus that he does there. But the first thing he tries to do to address the issues of America at that point is a stimulus package to address the economic recession in 2008, 2009. So in 2009, he pushed an economic stimulus package to address the recession. It authorized massive government spending to provide relief to people and businesses. So in 2009, Congress, which was Democratic, Congress is Democratic and he's a Democrat, they authorized billions of dollars in money just to be given to people. So basically, the way it works is that people just got this check in the mail with money, like $400, $500, and you're supposed to use that to go out and buy stuff, spend it on different things, and it's supposed to stimulate the economy. So it does help out a little bit at the time, but it doesn't create long-term growth. So it doesn't have like the long-term effects they were hoping for. And most people, when they get that kind of money, they just kind of pocket it for savings. They don't necessarily use it for like long-term development. So the package goes out. They thought it would help increase production, consumer spending would go up. Employment would go up too, down from 10% unemployment. It made some immediate relief, but it failed to make long-term growth. Businesses thought Bush tax cuts would end as well, so they didn't hire as much because Obama said he was going to cut the Bush tax cuts and raise taxes, and he doesn't do that. But they thought that he was going to do that, and so the businesses weren't as willing to hire. So the stimulus doesn't really do a whole lot to help us out, and what it really does is just help add more to the national debt. So it does tremendously add to our national debt as a result, though. Then what Obama does that's really big in 2010 is he passes the health care reform. This is what Clinton failed to do in 93, and now Obama passes this in 2010. He and the Democratic Congress wanted to create a government option. They won't get the government option, but what they do pass is this package that requires you to get health care insurance no matter what. So, or else you have to pay a penalty fees whenever you pay taxes. So now under the Obamacare or health care law, it is government monitored, government ran with the website as far as like if you need to get health care, you can go to the site and get it provided by private providers. But if you don't buy health care, you're going to have to pay a penalty, which is now the law after it was enacted. Critics said it would be unaffordable and it would increase taxes, which they did not at the time, but it did. It increased premiums and so forth. It also said it would diminish the quality of health care, which is still in debate. So it does pass in 2010, like we said. Some claim it was unconstitutional, but several parts of it has gone before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has ruled that it's constitutional as a tax. Now, Obama then originally said it wasn't a tax, but the Supreme Court said it was a tax, and so now that's what it has to be considered as a tax because it has increased taxes as a result, and people do pay more now for health care premiums to help pay for all this because it's the companies that have to foot a lot of the bills, and so the people who pay the premiums, us people who have health care, have to pay for that. But it does lead to Republicans taking over the House of Representatives in the 2010 midterm elections, which leads us to the next part, the Tea Party and the Occupy Wall Street. So due to the stimulus package and the health care, Obamacare, that he passes in his first 2 years, Republicans will sweep the elections in the House in 2010. So the Republicans will take over the House in 2010 because of this new Tea Party movement. The Tea Party movement was this very extreme conservative right movement that wanted to shrink the size of government and create less taxes and get rid of health care, or get rid of the Obamacare program and so forth. So we still deal with Tea Party people in Congress now. They've now gotten into the Senate too, and the Senate is now Republican controlled as well. But they've limited a lot of the things that Obama could do in the past 6 years. So they've had a major impact because they've gotten seats in Congress as a result. But their idea is to have very limited, very strict conservative type government. On the left, you have the Occupy Wall Street. This only lasted a little while in 2011. In 2011, people on the left protested in New York and in D.C. over corporate greed, inequality, and the inability of federal government to relieve suffering. There were protests in actual Wall Street in New York. There were protests in D.C. They said the top 1% had too much money, and they weren't sharing enough essentially with the people. They paid themselves too much, and so the 1% was hurting the rest of the country. These people on the left didn't like the cuts to education the governments were making at the time because of the recession effects. They didn't like the reduction in social services. They didn't like decaying infrastructure, and also all this led to high student debt. This was one of the big things. A lot of college kids were for Occupy Wall Street because it made college hard to pay for with higher student loans and so forth. So it only lasted a few months in 2011, but it made a major impact. And now you're seeing people being more aware of how much these companies are getting paid and how much the government could do to try to curtail that if possible. And also, Obama repeals Don't Ask, Don't Tell. That's no longer the law of the land. Now you can be a homosexual and serve openly in the military. We do see the death of Osama bin Laden in 2011, so the Navy SEALs do kill Osama bin Laden in May of 2011, so that we finally take out the leader of Al-Qaeda in 2011. Iraq troop withdrawal, we finally officially withdraw out of Iraq in 2011 as well. And then finally, I don't have it up here, but you may want to add it before 2012 election, is Arab Spring or Middle Eastern uprisings. In 2011, several countries in the Middle East began to do these democratic uprisings. It's referred to as the Arab Spring. Egypt, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Bahrain, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia all began to have these massive democratic protests. Like Egypt had a massive protest where people were demonstrating in the streets. This went on for months and pretty much years. It's still being afforded now, but Egypt went through this major government shift, which made us worried because Egypt was one of the more stable governments in the Middle East for a long time after the Camp David Accords. But now we kind of worry about the region more because if Egypt falls, then we don't know what could happen to the rest of the country. Libya, Muammar Gaddafi gets assassinated in Libya, and they crack down more on rebels and so forth there. And the UN's voted to intervene there. We've gone in and tried to help out Libya, but since then we still don't really know the effects of all this. But just know about Arab Spring. It's just this democratic uprising that's taking place in the Middle East that starts in 2011. So 2012 election, Obama beats Mitt Romney because he runs a better campaign and makes a better argument for helping the economy get better and so forth. So he wins the second term. But that's where we're going to stop for Obama. So that's where we're going to stop there with Obama, and that'll be it for this video.